Joined here at Parkview Road, home of Welling United, with Chippenham manager Mike Cook. Mike, it's a disappointing day on the road, all told. 1-0 defeat to Welling. Talk us through that one, mate.
Yeah, perhaps not quite good enough in defending the goal. The goal was a poor goal from our point of view. Just opened up like the Red Sea, and between probably 3 or 4 errors, it eventually finds itself in the net. So yeah, that was probably the most disappointing thing of the afternoon, because we played quite well in possession football. We knocked it about well, didn't really look in any trouble. If I'm brutally honest, probably a draw would have been fair, to be fair. And I think that we've got to be a little bit better. Although, looking at some of the results, it hasn't been the end of the world today.
Yeah, I think, touching on the clinical aspect there, I think, we both had the same view. We were pretty much sat on top of each other today, wherein that we saw that in possession we controlled large elements of the game, and we thought, at certain times we probably got it easier, and going down the slope in the second half, I thought we probably would have shaded it, but a couple of chances just kind of went begging there in that second half. I think Alex has had one at the back post. He's coming again right at the death there on the header, and a few little squirmy ones from Jordan Young that sort of made their way through, but without really ever tested the keeper massively. We've kind of dominated without really causing any real problems.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I think that we had a few chances, but we had shots from distance, not really getting in behind. Last week we did it quite well, got behind the opposition and created a few more goal scoring, what I call proper goal scoring situations, and you've got to do that at least 6, 7, 8 times in a game to perhaps score one goal. And we didn't quite do that enough today, but we were good in front of them. We knocked it about well. We were pleasing on the eye, but we just need to be a little bit more ruthless, I think, with that final ball.
Good stuff. And Mike touched upon there the results that went around us there. I think the top 3 won, but everything from 5th down through 10th, I think, picked up a defeat today. So potentially a chance missed if we look at it with the negative eyes. But in the grand scheme of things, it's only 3 points, and we get to go again now against a fellow playoff chasing Eastbourne next week, with only 1 point away with them in our sights, and potentially a place in 6th, with those games now sort of closing around us. We had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, Mike, and it was really centred around the playoffs would be predicated on whether the other teams around us could do something with those games in hand. Those games in hand are starting to look a little bit more fair now in terms of the accuracy of the league table, and we're still stuck in there.
Yeah, and that's pleasing. It's just when you come to a place like this where you know that they're going to fight and scrap for everything, there's going to be a few funny results from now until the end of the season, and today was definitely like that, I think, if you look at our league. But also just for us, if we could have just got that little draw, you carry on with the run, you're undefeated, and it's it's a nice place to be going into that for next week. So the good thing is the pitch is nice at our place, so we can knock it about, and since the weather's changed and winter's settled in, we've probably played a little bit better at home than we have away. So we're looking forward to that for next week, and just correct a couple of things that weren't quite right this week.
Yeah, a little bit inconsistent with our season so far, Mike. It's only our 3rd defeat on the road. I think if you take the Maidstone and the Bath game, and obviously this being the 3rd, we've still got a tremendous away form when you consider, and couple that with now the fact we seem to have found our feet at home. It's got to give you a little bit of confidence heading down the stretch that even when things start to get a little tight and these little weird results do sneak in, we can still on our day perform a little bit of a miracle and keep ourselves in there with the big boys.
Yeah, you'd hope so, because Eastbourne were a good team away from home on their plastic pitch. I think we were winning the game 2-1. It was something like the 94th or the 95th minute, and they just managed to get a penalty right at the death. So we were quite evenly matched on that day. So it should be a nice little game for us. They try and knock it about as well. So we've just got to be a little bit sharper up front, and in the roles that we play, some of them, we've got to be able to knock it around a little bit better in that final third and final pass, final shot, and I'm sure we'll be all right.
3 substitutions today, Mike. Bit of a luxury for you, considering squad issues that we've had over the last couple of months with injuries and loans going back and people not quite there. But we managed to make the changes today. We saw Hanks coming on, we saw Danny Greenslade come on, we saw Dan Griffiths come on, and thought to their credit, all three of them when they came on had an impact on the game, and it must be nice to now have those options coming off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, Anks is tendonitis in his knee, so we had to be a bit careful with him over the last couple of games. Danny Greenslade's coming back from a shoulder injury, so that was good to give him a good sort of 25 minutes, half an hour today. And I thought Dan, when he came on, he looked sharp and he ran around for us a little bit. So we couldn't have 5 subs today because we haven't got enough bodies in the building. But
I have offered.
Yeah, I know. So, but from our point of view, I thought that they did well when they come on, and they looked fit and they looked sharp, and they did make a bit of a difference as well.
And you touched obviously upon the last game against Eastbourne there, playing against them for large parts of the game with 10 men after the early sending off and finding ourselves into a 2-1 lead. Unfortunately, it did go right at the death there, but they're a team that are going to come down and undoubtedly try and play a little bit of football on the pitch at the Thornbury Surfacing Stadium, and they sort of, without meaning to sound too confident, it's sort of tailor-made for your sides the way you set up, Mike, that when teams do come down to try and play football and give you the opportunity and the space and the gaps, that you tend to exploit them quite well. So I suppose a preview ahead of Eastbourne, it's got to be exciting times to get in the ground. Yeah,
it should be a good game. I think if you're the 420 who came last week, we really appreciate that, and we need another couple of hundred fans just to see us over the line. And when we're on top, it does make a difference. And if we can get a couple more in on loan for next week as well, that'll make a little bit of a difference as well. So we've all got to come together, we've all got to help each other, and I'm sure that it'll be a good game, it'll be a good contest like it was at their place. So fingers crossed.
And one last point before we go and jump on the coach and go and get warm, Mike. Obviously, we've touched on loans coming in. We've sort of seen Cam Hargreaves has gone to Kings Lynn. Harry and Ricky have both gone back to Swindon, have made appearances. And I believe there's some sort of weird rule, isn't there, or something in the EFL that stopped Harvey Bunker coming back, who was dead keen to come back. Have we now kind of put the chapter of those players of this season to bed? Are we looking at new blood, or are we really hustling to try and get some of these lads that are sort of slightly more familiar to Chippenham fans back in, or are you have you reset the net?
I'd never say never with the Swindon lads, because quite rightly they've got a few injuries, and it's good to see Ricky getting a chance, and Harry as well. So we've got until the 31st of March to get some players in. We've asked around a couple of other teams as well. So we're just hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get one in for this week coming up for the Eastbourne game, and we've got couple of irons in the fire with other things, but we need a bit of money as well. We can't just go out and get players willy-nilly. So, and again, that's why we've not had 5 on the bench today, because we haven't got the money to spend on somebody who's perhaps not going to get on. And so we just need to make sure that we just bolster the squad a little bit over the next couple of weeks, and then see where we are at the end of February, beginning of March. And then we can reappraise it then.
Good stuff. Well, we'll let you get on with it today then, Mike. Obviously today is commiserations, a 1-0 defeat at Welling, but signs do point to good for next week. Coming up at home against Eastbourne, it should be another cracker at the Thornbury Surfacing Stadium. We wish you and your players all the very best for your week's preparations, and we'll see you there, mate.
Brilliant.
Wonderful.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Cheers, chap.